This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Let's talk about somebody else that Johnny Ace is trying to bring in. Is a big star too. Bob Sapp is going to meet with Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis on October 15th in Los Angeles, according to the Observer. Meltzer would say his name had come up many times over the years, but this was considered the best chance of making a deal happen, which I guess if you're sending Vince, yeah, probably so. Apparently Paul Heyman even pushed for Bob Sapp to come in, but going all the way back to 2003. He liked the idea of a Lesnar-Sapp match at WrestleMania. According to the November 20th Observer, all the talks with Bob Sapp had died. Sapp wanted to try to mix WWE and Pride with the idea that doing Pride would give him real credibility, but doing WWE would give him mainstream United States popularity. Bob Sapp in this era is a superstar in Japan, but he's not quite the name here, but he thinks WWE could help that. But the WWE wants him to work a full-time 365 day a year schedule. Sapp doesn't want to commit to that number of house shows, and he wants a few weeks off prior to fights, plus the ability to take movie roles, and it just doesn't get kicked off. But the original plan, according to the Observer, was that Sapp would start on October 29th, and he would be in the Elimination Chamber at December to Dismember. Of course, it didn't wind up happening, but Bob Sapp in WWE could have been interesting, to say the least.
Oh yeah, it would have been great in that regard. But he's another guy that had to get in shape. You know, he was spoiled by a schedule where he was working only a handful of dates a year in Japan. They're all big fights. They're all big issues. But conditioning was always an issue with Bob. But looking at Bob on an 8x10, my God, that's money. And but when you can't commit, you know, and you start laying all these stipulations out, I will do this, I can't do that, I want to do movies. You know, doing a movie may take you away for 3 months.
Right.
So when you get a guy that has such a high value on himself and wants a whole lot of money to work part-time, it just wasn't feasible. So I looked at Bob as, you know, Bob's a guy that you could got ready, squash matches, vignettes, don't overexpose him on TV, get him ready in that regard. And probably, you know, it would have been a dream match like Lesnar,
right,
for example. So, but it just, the math didn't work out. His demands for his schedule was not going to happen. And, you know, Laurinaitis had a little relationship with him from Laurinaitis' days, with Giant Baba. So, you know, that was the hook there, and that was the connection. But it wasn't in the cards. To be honest with you, from what I remember hearing, and I was talking to Laurinaitis a lot, they'd call and ask questions, and what do you think of this? What would you do here? Whatever, which is fine. That was one of the smarter things he did, quite frankly, me patting myself on the back here. But, you know, why wouldn't you? You know, I built that roster with a great team. So why wouldn't you go ask me questions? That's what you should do. And he did. But I never thought it was going to happen. I never thought it was going to happen, because Vince is not going to acquiesce to a massive, I mean, we're talking, you know, 7-figure plus deal for part-time work. It just didn't make any sense. And so I never thought it was going to ever come to fruition. But like you, on paper, I'm intrigued by the fact that if we got Bob Sapp, it would have led to some big match scenarios. But to say you want Bob Sapp to go out and work 20 minutes, ain't going to happen. So that's where you were on that thing. I never had confidence it was going to happen. And I'm sorry I felt that way, but it's just too many ifs, and well, I'll do that, but I won't do, no, I want to maintain my dates in Japan. And Vince was never big on that maintaining, you know, we had to get, when we hired Leon could have stayed in Japan and done a lot of dates, but we couldn't book Leon part-time. He needed to be available, you know, as a full-timer. And Bob Sapp was not willing to be a full-timer.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money, it's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.